Hello, friends, and welcome back to another Needlessly Nostalgic. This is our fourth one. I am very excited for today's episode. I am, of course, your co-host, Tyler Nichols, and I've got my other co-host, Lance Vlcek here. Lance, I know you're excited for today. How you doing?
I can't really complain, man. I'm living life. Yeah, number 4. This was, I feel like, to me, the start. Some it's the end, but I think we could both agree that the final chapter is definitely a fan favorite. So I'm glad to actually start tackling the ones that I think we just immediately agree, so we could just have a good time with.
Yeah, and for those that are unaware, Lance and I are the hosts of Needlessly Nostalgic. We will go through different, right now, horror movie franchises, but we might branch off into other stuff eventually. Right now, we are going through the Friday the 13th series.
Yes.
And yeah, today we're looking at the final chapter. But I think it was the last episode that we talked about the Scream Factory box set, which we are both watching from.
One of the best box sets to ever grace my little hands, yeah.
Yeah, they do a fantastic job with this. And one thing that kind of stood out to me that I liked during the conversation, but I didn't have the set on hand, so I think it would be fun to talk about, is the reverse sleeves. And because we had already talked about it in the last episode, but I want to talk more specifics and what we would actually prefer in terms of the sleeves. So obviously, since we missed out on the other ones, we got to go back and talk about the first 3. So what are your thoughts on this first Friday the 13th?
So, though it's not my favorite movie, I tend to be a little bit. I don't love the movie, but I like the original cover. It's a little, it's iconic. It's an iconic cover. Yes. And then when I'm looking at this one inside, I appreciate that it's different, but no, absolutely not. 100%
it's
the
too
original.
Different.
Yes, exactly. And I've never seen it. So like Shout Factory, the thing that I liked is they would do new covers and then put the old cover inside. So if you wanted something new and interesting, awesome. If you're an old school guy that is a little bit more of a historian that you had it, I don't know what this is. Have you ever seen this axe in the bed?
Yes, I have.
In real life, like in the wild?
Not in the wild. I've only ever seen it. I believe it's in one of the Crystal Lake Memories. Okay. I think it's a European cover, I want to say. But my biggest problem is the font.
Really? I
really don't like that font.
Yeah, I mean, I just hate the bed looks, I don't know, it's just so 80s. Whereas like the outline of the killer and the camp counselors in the middle, I think that just alludes to more of what's going on.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I've said in the last one that I don't really like a lot of the Friday the 13th covers. They're very generic.
Yes.
For the original, and the original is incredible. So I'm right there with you. I might try out the other one if it had the correct font, but the fact that it doesn't have that classic Friday the 13th font, it doesn't sit good on the shelf. So I can't stomach that.
Let's jump into 2 because 2 is I think exactly like 4 where it's just dog shit. It just takes out a picture and puts a font. I hate that. I
like the back more. The back has Pamela Voorhees' severed head.
I'm looking at the cover, man. The cover is the conversation. And the cover sucks because it's the number 2 is almost just like a redo of the first one without camp counselors. It's a little more just sort of, basic, but it gets the job done. I don't like when they take a picture out and just put the font. I don't like that, which is why the reverse of 4 sucks, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask too, before we move on too far, because the Friday the 13th includes the uncut version and the theatrical, do you just watch the uncut version every time?
Yes.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, once you get an uncut version, why would I go back? Especially in the series where like my whole thing is the kills, I
just have to laugh. It almost sounded like you said uncunt version. It's the uncunt version. Yeah. It gets rid of that one bitch from part 7.
I'm getting over a cold, so there's a little bit of that gruff and that sort of thickness.
No, I like it. I'm going to start using that one. Well, so part 3 is, I think it's the best of all of the ones that, at least from these first 4.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's so good.
So 3 is classic. The original one's classic where the knife comes through. That's one I've always seen. Mm-hmm. The reverse, though, is kind of cool. The reverse reminds me a little of, I don't know who the artist that did the the Nightmare on Elm Streets, but it has sort of that vibe. And I kind of like that where it's Jason, though it looks a little weird, going through the glass window. It's
really nice. It's a really nice drawing.
Yeah.
That would make for a good just poster on its own.
Yeah, something different because it's different enough where I respect it because it still kind of goes in the same vein as what's going on. Though I've never seen that in the wild either. So I wonder if these reverses are, or at least some of these reverses are all European cuts or sort of like interest or like. When the boxes come out, like, oh, let's make something else. I don't know. I never looked into that because I've never seen this one before that wasn't outside the box set.
Wouldn't surprise me. I'm sure that Friday the 13th franchise.com probably has our answers. They are on top of everything. They are the epitome of a good database for Friday the 13th. So anyone that is curious about that, I'm sure it's on that website.
But before we get into the movie, I want to say that part 4, which is funny because I always forget this. It's something that I swear I'm living in a loop. This is my Groundhog's Day, where I swear that it says 4 somewhere on the cover and it never does. And because I was afraid it was like, oh, part 4, the final chapter. And they took out the 4 because it was looking a little goofy. I love this cover. It was in the video game for NES for Nintendo. And I loved that game growing up as a little kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great.
Clearly, it's a mirrored image because the axe cut's on the wrong side. But
yes.
I don't care because it's a classic. The mask is beautiful. The blood, the knife in the eye, dude. Come on.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I like that a lot more. And the reverse is literally just font.
Yeah,
it's just a bunch of letters.
2. Yeah, fuck that.
Which, I mean, I like. It says 3 times before you have felt the terror, known the madness, lived the horror, but this is the one you've been screaming for. I like that.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's. I mean, maybe in a trailer, but poster. It's like I want to read and put in a book. You know what I'm saying? Posters are visual art. You could have a tagline, but like that poster, the entire poster is a tagline. Cool as it is, no dice.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. And I'm right there with you too. I could have sworn that there is a part 4 somewhere, but there is not. And
like I said,
kind of messes with my head a little bit.
It's the what is that effect called where people think something like
Mandela effect,
whatever it's called. Because I've always said the Bernstein my entire life, and it's Bernstein. I'm like, where did that come from?
Berenstain.
That's even worse.
The Berenstain Bears. Yeah, I know.
It's Steen. I swear.
I'm right there with you. I think it's Steen. But this is Friday the 13th, the final chapter premiered in 1984. This was a 2-year break for some reason. It's directed by Joseph Zito, and this one has writing credit from Victor Miller, Ron Kurz, and Martin Catrasso. I believe Victor Miller and Ron Kurz are just based upon, it's just characters based on. Yeah. Screenplay by Barney Cohen. Okay, then that's interesting. Oh, it's because of they have to credit the Friday the 13th 2 writers because there's characters that carry over because we see Rob, the sister, like the brother of Sandra from part 2, so they get credited in this too.
Oh, okay, that's kind of cool.
I guess there's 7 writing credits on this.
No, but it means everybody gets paid, so it's cool in that sense. Where it's like, hey man, I'm looking for everybody to make a buck and get a day off here, so why not?
Yeah, that is true. And why did you I'm curious as to why because all the other ones are just a year apart, and it's still after this one, the next one is the next year. So it's weird that they had a 2-year break in there.
I have no idea. I never looked it up, but I would say that the first thing I did notice with that 2-year break is this looked technically a lot better. It's funny because I don't know how much the budget was increased, but like starting off essentially like the same night, it's pulling like a Halloween 2. We got the helicopter. Like I just felt like the blocking, the staging, and like I don't know, this just seemed a little more epic right off the bat for being a really low budget franchise. So I'm assuming or hoping that those 2 years was to like, hey guys, we got to end this once and for all. Let's actually sit down. I don't know if that's true, but in my heart, hopefully.
They go back to the same place that they filmed part 3. So it is also very interesting to see those the same house and same barn, but not lit for 3D. And you get to actually see some moodiness to it. And also there was just that another 2 years of wear and tear. So there was just a little more griminess to things. And I don't know. I think that really, really worked for me. I had to look it up because I'm like, wait a minute. Everything looks exact, but there's just things look cooler. Like, why does it just look so much cooler? The barn also, I feel like, looks smaller for some reason.
I don't know. I liked Zito's direction in this a lot, actually. At least compared to the last couple. In fact, I would say this is the first one that seems a little cinematic, just based on like you said, how things were kind of shot and looked, and there's a lot of shadows and stuff like that. Just
and he directed The Prowler, which was 3 years earlier, and The Prowler it's a very generic slasher, but looks great.
No, it's funny. I've never seen that. I've heard about it, but never got the chance.
Yeah, I only watched it for a video, and I liked it, but it's not like if you're not super into slashers, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, you gotta check this one out. Unlike something like Blood Rage, where I'm like, yes, you have to watch that. It's amazing.
No, this starts off, I think, kicking off really strong. I like the fact that a helicopter, I like that it pans down. I like that there's a chaos of what's going on, and that they bring bodies and Jason's wheeled out, which I'm saying right here because I know there's a big disagreement. He's dead. Like, he's not faking it. He's not like hibernating for like 8 hours. Because it's not like they put him in the ambulance and he just gets up and gets out. He gets checked. They put him in. They take him to the hospital, put him in the morgue. Yada, yada, yada happens. I feel like there's so much time between when he was stabbed in the head, falling down, to where he wakes up, that I have a theory, but let's I guess, go with how we normally do it and start off from the beginning. I'd like you to lead for a second so I could get my scene pulled up.
Yeah, so this is continuing our trend of recaps at the beginning of these films, because VHS and Laserdisc was not quite as widespread as it would end up being. So we got a great, really just highlight reel of the first 3 films, which I think is so much better than what we got in 2 and 3, because 2 and 3, it's just the same thing beat for beat, and that is just not fun. They also do a great job of, we talked up Paul's speech from part 2 at the campfire. Yeah. And they bring it back, and they do exactly what I would have done as an editor, which is then just overlay kills over that great speech. And it works so well. I love it. I cannot, is there any other movie? I mean, I know Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 will replays most of the first film in the first half of the second film, but even that, it's different music cues, it's tighter editing. First, 2 and 3, it's just it's the endings chopped off.
Yes, no. I agree that those I accept for what they are, but this is the first time we actually have style to recap, and like you're right, it doesn't just show it edits things together as it's telling a story, because this is the final chapter. And I would say this is the second best recap. I personally think the best is part 7, just because that's this only just tighter and better, and it has the narration more. He's in there waiting, it's I love it. But this has that vibe. This is trying to hype me up, and it does a damn fine job. And hold on. Probably the best title card sequence. It has the mask, and it has a final chapter coming below it, and then it's a fucking Rambo movie. It just explodes. Final chapter. It goes so actiony for really no reason, but I'm like, absolutely, yes, sir, and let's continue on this trend.
Yeah, I think it's a fun actiony kind of title card, and I mean, then it's the same kind of title scene that we see in all of these movies, so that aspect is the same as usual, but I think there is a little bit more energy to Manfredini's score. I think he's kind of relishing and not having to do the disco thing.
Yeah, I would say this movie as a whole seemed to have more energy and a little tighter pacing. Again, maybe just because as we're getting later in the 80s, that's just more of a style. I can't really say if this movie went out of its way to do it, but I felt that right off the bat, this wasn't wasting as much time as parts 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah, it gets right into the meat and potatoes of it, because I mean, even the recap, we're still seeing deaths. It's something more than just, again, a recap cut off of the last 10 minutes of the prior film. So I know I've harped on that a lot, but I like that there's actual editing going on to then show us a story. That's important to me.
Yeah. And it, like I said, it hypes you up. And I think that's the whole point of this. This, to me, it almost seems like everybody's reinvigorated because this was, with all good intentions, to be the final chapter. And I love that we had an era, dude, that somehow people believed, audiences and the writers and directors. Like, I don't know if the studio truly believed. I mean, I think the studio always kind of knew, like, hey, man, if it makes money, we're going to do more. They didn't let that out of the bag, because if you watch the Crystal Lake documentaries, people are like, nah, man, this is the last one. We're going to make it. And this isn't the only one. I mean, every era or every series around this era had an ending, and I love that exists. I love that we, at one point as a culture, thought we could just walk away from something that was successful, and we'll nethis go back to that. This is a fucking fossil if I've ever seen it, but I'm glad that it exists.
Yeah, if anything, it's people specifically try to avoid anything finite because you never know what's going to happen. Things get rediscovered all the time. There are a million different movies that released to an absolute whimper and then gained cult status. It's a story as old as time.
Yeah.
And I think there's a reason that that's the case. And sometimes, I don't know, I'm glad that we're not away from that a little bit, just because I don't want because when you hear them talk about these kinds of movies, or even I had watched the Red Letter Media guys talk about these, and they talk about how just like the well was dry by this point. And I could not disagree more, because I think that's something that just people who aren't super into horror movies, they just don't understand the appeal of seeing more than one of just someone killing a bunch of teens at a summer camp, which is what they just view the Friday the 13th series as. But I just enjoy so many elements of it that I'm like, I mean, we have 12 movies and I still feel like we haven't completely taken advantage of every aspect of it. So
we're on the same page, because one, I love Mike J and Rich Evans with all my heart. I mean, they're one of us. They're a Midwesterner.
Yeah.
But I do agree that when it comes to stuff like this, they don't seem to just be able to have the type of fun that I do. You know, like I find this like comfort food. I like the repetition. I like it's the same shit. I like that every director, basically it's the same bag of tricks, but they get to try to utilize them in a unique way. I find that to be, I think the restriction of it actually breeds creativity. Of course, not as much as you would get in Nightmare on Elm Street, but whatever. I mean, this is more of the blue collar version of that. So I'm always gonna be down. So here's the thing, though. What I miss about the 80s, and I will give credit to Saw for doing this, but I love the idea, and I mentioned this, I think, on another podcast or something, so I don't want to take too much time on it, I should say. I love that the way these worked is that however the last movie ended, the new director had to start from there, whatever that was. And I find that to be very creative and very interesting. Like, yes, it doesn't work now. That's why things get rebooted and changed to different timelines, because it's a handicap, but I think it's a great handicap as a creative. Yeah. Jason was stabbed in the head, he was hung, and he died on the floor. Okay, go. It's like, okay, Freddy was fucking, buried his bones in holy water in a junkyard. Go. I like that idea. Again, it only really works for these kind of silly movies. It wouldn't work for something as like serious as like maybe like a Scream, or what else is a very serious franchise? Or Halloween is a great example. Like that's why they keep rebooting those, because Halloween has never been silly, so it has to kind of stay in this sort of grounded, gritty reality.
It's never been silly. Halloween Resurrection.
Well, silly in terms of they just made a shitty movie, whereas I feel Jason, part 6 when he rips the guy's arm off and is like surprised by his own strength, like shit like that. So I like that from here. I am with you though. I'm glad that we're not just trying to end things and walk away, but I do appreciate that optimism existed. That's the big thing I'm trying to say. But I do love and I miss, and which I will give Saw credit for, because the same shit. 2 ends, 3 has to start where that fucking ended. 4 ends, we even if it's not starting the day after, whatever happened in 4 has to go into 5, and 5 into 6. Saw was the only time in my adult life I ever saw that happen, and I don't think I've seen it since, because really at this era it doesn't make sense. Reboot it, soft reboot it, have a new character be a brother, the sister of that, and then make a mention of it. That's more reliable on, I think, the movie sensibilities of the audience at this point.
I think that the closest we really have it is the Conjuring series in terms of just things being picked up from whatever the last movie in that franchise was. So then, but even then they are constantly kind of retroactively changing things because then they're like, we don't like that. So then even though this thing happened like earlier on, then we're going to switch it around.
That's a good point. And they also do a lot more prequels and like side quest shit that just to sort of keep the universe building, but because we're in a universe era, that's why.
Yeah, well, I mean, they set up the Annabelle doll in the first Conjuring, and that origin gets changed at least 2 different times in the series. Yeah. They give like a different meaning to it of like, oh, this isn't actually the origin. The origin actually happened before, because it's like, oh, we don't want to tell the story that you guys were alluding to here. That's boring. We're gonna do something else.
Yeah, I mean, so like, I get it.
But these movies, though,
do that too. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, nope, this is where we ended off. We're not going to do some kind of silly shit to, I mean, they do some kind of weird things to then justify whatever story elements they're adding, but they're not going nutso at the very beginning for the most part. They're still going from where the other film left off.
Yes. And I appreciate that they respect enough to sort of tippy-toe their way into being more convoluted later on.
Yeah.
And again, it works because this is a blue-collar meat and potato series. It really does. Because at this point, you're kind of rooting for Jason. I know most people aren't. I absolutely am. And then after this, it's full-blown like, fuck them kids.
I would say that this is the last time where I'm on board for the kids, and I feel bad, and where Jason is just so he's brutal in this movie.
Yes,
he is a mean motherfucker.
Doesn't waste time.
Does not at all. And these kids, I like all these kids, and we won't get into the kids quite yet because we still got I want to talk about the whole the nurse and her terrible taste in men, because Jason gets picked up by these ambulance people, which I like too. They kind of set it up where it seems like, oh, is Jason going to kill these ambulance drivers? But he doesn't go after them. Instead, and he gets wheeled to the morgue, and he's almost, do you think that he is brought back to life by them getting all horny?
Yes, I wrote it down. I've always thought that it's like the sex in the air, like the electricity in part 6, it energized him. And then the guy comes back alone and kind of is watching that workout video. And he's not really, he's not jerking, but let's be clear, he's close to it. And that energy's still there. So it's still sexual tension, which brings Jason back. And then gets up and then starts. Absolutely. Because that's what I'm saying. At this point, he's not faking it. Like, he has no reason to. He's a strong, built, tough, crazy hockey mask killer. Like, he's not the kind of guy that's gonna lie in wait and plan. Like, he's a bulldozer. So you're telling me he's just lying in this room for fucking an hour? I mean, and again, I don't know the time frame. Where is the cabin to the hospital? They have to sign him in. They have to put him in. There's a lot of logistics here. I would even argue it's probably 3 hours after. So do you believe Jason was just hiding and hanging out under that sheet for 3 hours? Not my Jason. That's for sure.
Yeah, and one also in Freddy versus Jason, they have Freddy brings Jason back with like this whole scenario of Jason killing these people who were clearly having sex and then went out or at least were going to have sex and then went out and were swimming and got all murdered. So I feel like it's definitely safe to say that it's canon.
I think so. And again, I know people think he's human in this. I would say he's maybe not a zombie, but he's not. He's definitely partly undead. I would meet people halfway. He is not a human being in this one. He might have human traits. He might be, like I said, in half the foot in the astral plane. Who knows? But he's not just some redneck dude. Absolutely not.
We will get into it later, but live people cannot stay underwater for absurd amounts of time. So, so then I like because we get the nurse and doctor getting killed, and I've always loved the head twist effect. It looks just because he almost digs his fingers into the throat of the guy, which I love. And then the twist, it looks great. Looks so good.
Well, he has the medical saw, and then it's a very aggressive like prosthetic in the twist. So it's again, I like the cinematic lighting because it's it's half lit by the TV, but it's still dark enough. I don't know, it looks cinematic. It looks like it's not flat and boring like we've been bitching last couple movies. And again, right off the bat, it's like, the kill is more aggressive than we've seen in the last 3 films. And they seem like you get to show a little bit more. You notice that?
Yes.
I felt not a lot, but more than 2 and 3. And maybe 1, honestly. I just felt slightly gorier.
I would absolutely agree. I mean, the Jason kill alone, spoiler alert, but like that's more violent than anything we've seen prior in this franchise. So, and I've bitched several times of the whole not going full bore with the first kill, and they go full bore with this first kill. Like, we get a full on great effect. It's not just a stabbing that we then don't see anything. And they show a lot. And
the second kill comes 10 seconds after. It's like they don't even waste time. And that kill, when he is basically gutting the nurse, is again not anything as crazy if we'd see now, but back then, absolutely. And that this is clearly meaner and more aggressive and gorier than we've been used to for the prior 3 films. And I'd like to, acknowledge that that's probably a great reason why, of many, this is considered one of the best, because this is the one where it feels like the Friday the 13th series and Jason Voorhees is kind of finally coming to its own.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a reason that this and Part 6 are the crown jewels of the franchise, and it's because this is one of the most Jason films out there. I still remember seeing this on AMC late at night during these Friday the 13th marathons, and it just hits the right tone with there's rain and the thunder and lightning, and everything just feels so drab. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's the most cinematic one so far. Absolutely. Yeah. Zito all the way.
Yeah, Zito is fucking fantastic. I mean, I like me some Steve Miner, but clearly this is, seeing this and the third one back to back, it's insane how much better the cinematography is. Just absolutely unreal. But then we get our introduction of the main cast members, which I think this is the best introduction of our potential victims for any film in the series. I love this intro.
Now, we're talking the intro to the teens, the intro to Corey Feldman, his mom and sister.
To the teens specifically. Why does it go to is it Corey Feldman in them first?
It sets up them real quick and then it goes to the teens. But whatever.
I will say, I love that house.
Oh yeah, it's a great cabin. Well, cabin, my ass. That's just a house that is in a rural area, so everything's wood. No, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's definitely just a normal. It's my dream house. I've seen people go in it after the fact and take pictures, and it's not a set or anything. That what we see in this movie is what that house looks like to this day. It's incredible.
God, it's so 80s. It's so 80s.
So 80s. And for those that are unaware, it's actually, the other house is not a real house. It's something that they built for production because they wanted these 2 houses that were right next to each other. And so they just built their own. So when you see the other house, I always think of this because I'm like, how much stuff doesn't work in this place where it's just a shell? Yeah. I imagine there's a lot.
Man, movie magic.
Yeah, it's incredible. But then the teens themselves, which I call them teens, I guess they're probably just young adults. But that's when we get the famous "You're a dead fuck" line. I love their interactions.
Hold on, I wrote this down because where's that? I'm not for extended universes, but I am absolutely down to see who and what was up with BJ Betty. I want to know her story because Crispin Glover supposedly dumped her. That's what they were getting at, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
BJ Betty seems like a sweet girl. I don't know. I feel like she got the short end of the stick here. I want to know what happened. Poor Glover. And Axel, I think that's the guy's name, right? Because I love that name. It's like
Ted.
a badass.
It's just Ted.
Oh, sorry. Axel's the nurse guy. I wrote that wrong.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, because Ted, where's the corkscrew?
I like Ted because
remember.
Ted comes off as this kind of guy that, and they kind of established it a little. I don't know if it's more my interpretation of it, but that he's this like slick, okay, I got all the girls, that's going on. And then by the end of it, he's just watching like a 1901 porno by himself in the room. Because he's talking a big game right here. Like, oh, he knows what's going on, how to get the girls. He's giving Mr. Chris McGlover some shit. You know, I like that boisterous sort of douchey attitude that sort of comes back at him later on.
Same. I've always really related to Ted because I've always been like, it's like, yeah, I feel like I'm very much a confident person. And then when I'm actually in the situation where I'm like, oh God, anxiety takes over. So then I'm like, I really relate to him. Plus just he's in this movie, he smokes weed and he finds old pornos and puts them on. And I was like, yep, that's what I would be doing. All the other people are having sex, and I'm like, what are these old like film reels that we found? Let's see what's on them. As he's just like laughing at it, but we'll get into that.
So the kids drive past. I love that Pamela Voorhees has a gravestone essentially right by the road. I love it.
Fuck.
Like randomly, not even. I mean, I think they try to establish it's a graveyard, but. I mean, is it really? Because it seems like it's just on the side of the road down the old Highway 1.
That's the kind of shit too, where it's just like, whose decision was that? Because that's a terrible decision. Just why? Why is she buried? Why is she buried at all to begin with? This is a person that murdered a bunch of like,
and she has some family
she should
members.
Be in an unmarked grave.
Yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't a gravestone something that has to be purchased? And sort of engraved with a message and then bought a plot of land. I mean, it just seems like a lot for somebody who clearly didn't have anything else besides her son Jason.
Hermit Jason was selling weed to be able to afford that tombstone. And so when he saw this lady eating a banana on top of it, he was like, what? You're dishonoring my poor mother? I'm going to murder you.
Now, I'm making this up, but can we both agree that this exact kill seems like an add-in only because it makes no sense and it's really weird that this like random chick, I like it because that's the body count, but I have this weird feeling that somebody's like, hey, we need a couple more kills, and they throw this chick in because she doesn't talk. And I remember it's really weird because you think that she would based on just how aggressive she is with a painted sign that says like fuck you or fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the kill because when she gets stabbed, it's getting a little more aggressive. You notice
it's
like
so good.
It's like a little sawing effect, and I was like, but it's weird.
The different
character.
Elements. Oh yeah. I mean, I would agree with that, but like the different elements of the kill itself is what I think works so well because it's got like her grabbing the banana, like and squeezing it while we also have banana coming out of her mouth.
Yeah.
And then the like just so many elements that I think just work really well. And one thing that I remember complaining about a lot, and even the second one, was just the too many cuts. Like the person dies and then it's just immediate cut. So this, I like that we got a little bit more of, I was going to make me sound like a crazy person, but a little bit more of like the pain and anguish. Because it's like, that's kind of what makes the kills more interesting.
It makes them have more weight. Her squeezing bananas is somebody literally suffering. And though, and the thing is obviously it's out of focus, but not too much, is that as she's squeezing banana, like blood's dripping down her shirt. So like it's at least aesthetically, it's doing two things at once. And like I said, it's really random and it's really there to add to kills, but fuck it. That's what I want. And I love the fact that we're sort of snapping pacing here. It's like, okay, let's not go too far without a kill.
Well, it makes sense, but it makes sense too. Cause it's like, if I get this script, I'm like, hey, so there's no kills in here, but also Jason is on his way back from the morgue to Crystal Lake. So like he's on a journey there. We need to have him kill someone on that journey. So like it makes sense. That's always the reason that I've thought it's aesthetically a weird choice in terms of just her popping up out of nowhere, getting killed immediately, and like the humor of the banana. But logically, it's always made a lot of sense to me. So I think that's kind of made me forgive kind of the other stuff that doesn't make sense about it.
No, yeah, because Jason is doing the long walk back from wherever the morgue is, walking through the woods. I mean, like I almost wish there was more. That's my issue. Is like follow him for a minute, but it doesn't matter because
kill a drifter like in the last two movies. Or I guess he didn't kill anyone in the third one.
But I realized where they make up for that is the amazingly aggressive nudity that just kind of stacks up for like a little 20 minutes after. You know, there's that whole, one of the best things in the movie, though, because really not too far after this is where all the teens decide to just get naked at like 2 p.m. and jump in this dirty lake. I love it.
The Doublemint twins. That's not really what they are, but that's always what they're referred to as in the community.
Doublemint twins are on a bike in a commercial. I completely see it.
Yeah, and they're like just so ridiculously hot. I mean, all the girls in this movie are
very cute. Yeah, the brunette, I love her.
Yeah, just absurd. And I guess we didn't even really name drop Trish, but Trish is one of the best final girls too. She's Tommy Jarvis's sister.
No, I agree.
I guess Trish Jarvis is. I guess I've never thought about that. I guess it is Trish Jarvis.
It's probably Patricia on her birth certificate, but yes. But no, she's good. Very 80s. Yeah. I love that the car breaks down and that she has her like 8-year-old brother fix the screwdriver and I'm like, why? You know, he goes, he's like, it's fixed.
Shows how on top of things he is. He's the man. Because I mean, they make little Corey Feldman. He's pretty much Tom Savini.
Yeah, because all the masks are Tom Savini's. Yeah. Yeah,
which I like. And I love one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when he gets all giddy seeing the like Judy Aronson, that's Samantha. She starts changing and he's just the excitement that he goes through. He can't even contain himself because he's like, oh my God, I'm going to see boobs. This is amazing. And in person, technically.
It is really authentic. I actually wrote that in my notes that like his excitement, I can't say that I have done that, but I do remember feeling that as a kid. I remember feeling that, like seeing a movie where there were boobs in it. Mm-hmm. I remember that I remember that. So it's like, that is a very authentic performance. I'm actually very impressed because it's innocent, but exactly what a 10-year-old, I called him 8, but I know he's old. He's probably 12-year-olds at this point or whatever. But like a 10 to 12-year-old boy, that's exactly what they would feel. And how, like, that energy is 100% correct. 100%. Mm-hmm. Especially in there where, like, you know, the only way he could see a tit is probably through a Playboy that he'd have to somehow get a hold of.
Yes, which, I mean, this is a little bit of an aside, but even for the Home Alone film, when Kevin, little Macaulay Culkin, has to finger through the Playboy, they specifically glued all the naked pages down so that he couldn't, like when he looked through, he didn't accidentally see a boob. So it's like that's the kind of era we're dealing with here.
How American, huh?
Yeah. It's like, come on, let him see a boob. Come on.
God forbid we can watch a guy get blown up, but no tits.
It's always how it works. I do love because we've talked about the horniness in these movies, and this one absolutely belongs with 2 and 5 as being the horniest of the series.
It's funny. I remember it being, you know, very, I remember being horny enough, but for some reason this rewatch, it seemed more. I don't know, maybe I was focusing more on it than the kills, but yeah. Because from the girl getting undressed in the window with Corey Feldman to essentially the like would have been orgy if fucking Jarvis and his sister didn't stop by. You know, everybody's like taking off their clothes and skinny dipping. Like I said, like 2 p.m. It's like they're all drunk at like night. I'm like, oh no, it's like midday. They're like, hey, naked, let's go. I'm like, ooh.
Everything about that though, where it's like it's just the vibes of it just work so well. Because I assume they have to be like college. I assume on a break from college. That's always the vibe I've gotten. And I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm past this point in my life where this kind of thing would happen. But I'm looking back on it, I'm like, yep, this is just an enjoyable thing to, I don't know, see represented, not an enjoyable thing to actually live through yourself, because then all of the nonsense that then comes with it. But I like the coziness of this film, and I think a lot of that has to do with the hangout ability of the cast.
You're right. They feel a little more at ease. I don't think they're any near developed as besides Glover and the lead chick. I'm sorry.
What about there's the whole love triangle that's going on. Weird, strange love triangle.
I don't buy it, but it's charming. I'll give you that.
It's very charming because I mean, I'll admit right off the bat that I actually got confused as a kid, and I thought that I thought there was one horny twin and one prude the whole time. Like, and I thought that for a long time. And then I think a couple years ago, I finally realized, like, oh no, it isn't the one girl that gets turned down. She turned down by the guy with the girlfriend. She then is the one that leaves and gets stabbed outside the house.
Yeah.
I have always mixed the two up and been like, no, there's just the one horny one, and then there's the one that just doesn't want really to do with anyone. So I do think that they do a good job with that. So it's like there's the Ted aspect where Ted thinks he's such a stud and a ladies' man, and then it's like, oh well, actually he doesn't really have the moves that he thinks he has, and then Crispin ends up being so much more appealing to one of the twins, and then just the weird element too with the super innocent girl and the Donny Osmond looking motherfucker. Trying to think of, let's see what the names are.
I'm so bad at names, dude. I don't know.
No, I don't know what Sarah is the one of the names. Sarah and someone else. Sarah and Doug. I like them because they have that cute little, like, I believe in their little meet cute and their little interactions, and I like that when you think that she's going to be like a potentially innocent and like the virgin final girl, she gives it up. Like, moments like that I think work really well in this.
No, I don't disagree. I mean, I like the cast. I like the cast a lot. I also think they're just in a more interesting movie, and I think that helps. And I think, I'm not the biggest kid fan when it comes to movies, but I mean, dude, Feldman was at he was maybe the start of the peak, but basically it was like, then I went to the Goonies.
Yeah, the reason that he couldn't do part 5 was because of Goonies.
Yeah, so it's like, and of course, Fright Night. Not Fright Night, I'm sorry.
Gremlins.
No,
Gremlins.
Yeah,
Lost Boys.
Lost Boys is what I'm actually thinking of. I don't know, I was thinking Fright Night. Yeah, dude, it's like the Feldman run, dude. And him as a kid was quite charming. Like he had that sort of like the Macaulay Culkin sass, like that confidence, that nerdy dorkiness that was also wise. Of course, he's fixing, I don't know, something with a screwdriver, maybe the carburetor. I don't think so, but it doesn't matter. Just because he's not the main teens, he's just the side guy that kind of comes in the end. But even the kid aspect is good, and I think that says a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I remember one of the producers talks about just how they knew Corey was such a star, and I mean, we talk about him seeing Samantha undressing in the window, and it's like that moment, like all the things that he does in that scene just shows of like he just he understands the assignment. Whatever they need from him in a frame, he just gets it intuitively. So that makes all the difference, and it's a big reason why a lot of child actors then kind of fall out, because at a certain point, once you reach a certain age, that's expected of everyone. So it's like your one of your big advantages is then like every single person that is you go on an audition has that same like advantage of like, yeah, you need to be able to, give what the director wants in any singular moment. And
also though,
child actors suck most of the time. And
when child actors good, it's because of charm, but like that charm doesn't actually translate into older years. An older charm's a different charm than a kid charm. I think that's a hard thing too. Like look at like Haley Joel Osment. He does some stuff now, and he's good.
Dude, I was Edward Furlong, I would say, is a better example, because Haley Joel Osment he's really embraced the fact that he's like short and like a little pudgier.
But I'm saying that
really leaned into the comedy.
Yes, now, but there was a whole midsection where he disappeared. So I'm saying that like it took him a while to kind of find his new who am I exactly. And the funny thing he mentioned Edward Furlong is not like essentially a pudgy stoner. So like that's his avenue back, He's not like a tough, high voice little like rabble rouser, he's essentially where Joe Osment is right now. It's like, jump back in, buddy. He's like, hey, how you doing, dude? I'm doing well.
Oh, the Crispin Glover dance.
Yeah,
it's absolutely iconic, and this is the first time. It's funny that we were just talking the Lost Boys, because the music that he puts on almost sounds like the saxophone music from the Lost Boys.
I guess.
Oh no, boom, 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 boom. Oh no, that's the thing I always think of. The oh no.
I mean, it's. I think it really works.
We're going to get a copyright strike because of that brilliant.
Your voice. It works because I think he leans into the dorkiness, and obviously Crispin Glover isn't. He's almost like kind of like how Gary Busey was after the accident, where how much was actually acting and how much is just who you are. I think this is a good example of how much is him being a character and how much he's leaning in. Because I'm sure you've watched a lot of interviews with Crispin Glover, but anything like post 2001, at least that I've seen, I didn't watch too much early stuff because I feel like there's a certain youthness that you can get away with. But as like an adult, he's fucking strange. And I'm sure he's always been strange, but that kind of shows you that like he's fully just always out there. So I'm sure half of this is just him being him.
They've said that if this is the same kind of dance moves that you would if you saw Crispin at a club in the 80s, this is what you would be getting. He wasn't trying to do anything. And I remember too, I think it's Back in Black was what he actually was listening to, was what was on set playing. It's one. Yeah, which is weird to think of, because then it's like, it's not. I mean, maybe it's a common timing, so then they used it. They're like, we'll never clear this, but like you would think, just this is where I'll bash Joseph Zito, because it's like you got to think a little more so of your movie, because you automatically know that this would not clear. So why on earth would you ever? Yeah, ever have him dancing to it? Which I say that like, oh, it must have the same like popular time signature. I doubt that was even. Yeah, I don't even think that was thought through, which should have been, because then what you get is this, where then he's doing all this crazy shit that then doesn't match the beat most of the time, and just makes it all the stranger. But it's what makes it so amazing.
I love that. Clearly, the director was. I'm assuming a big fan of AC/DC, right? I mean, like, and that
must be,
and that, like, you know, the introduction of Brian Johnson had to be like in his movie, and then he could afford it, and that's just this stupid 80s song. Where, I mean, at least we could say that Crispin Glover's dance is so awkward and off that even if I put Back to Black over that scene, it still doesn't match. So I think that's probably the saving grace.
Yeah, I think they do it in like Crystal Lake Memories or some special, because that's, I believe, where that information is revealed, and it's like, yeah, it still doesn't really match. So, but they have on one of these, there's so many different things that have been released over the years, but on one of these things, they have Crispin dancing for, I want to say 90 seconds. It's just him. It's uncut, just him doing his thing, and it's amazing. It's so funny. And it's also a thing too where you can kind of see that he's starting to lose steam at one point and doesn't is trying to figure stuff out. And then I clearly remember him, like, it was like a laugh, like, okay, that's it, I don't have any more.
It's just done.
Yeah.
But it kind of sets up the, like you said, the love triangle, or at least the fact that it just starts partnering off, and then our friend is obviously not as skilled as he believes himself to be.
Well, but I really want to talk about this love triangle, because it has blown my mind since childhood.
Okay.
They are a couple, right? Like this, Samantha and this other dude, they're a couple.
Yes.
Not Jimmy. No, Jimmy is. I had all of this stuff out, and then the IMDb's for Friday the 13th are terribly laid out. I don't understand, because it's just how the credits are from how the film lists them. So they're all over the place. But regardless, this couple, they don't seem to have any problems. They had sex the night before that we saw the beginning of. They seem to like each other. So like, what the fuck is happening where they're like doing this aggressive dance? Yes.
The 80s? I don't know. I mean, the 70s were kind of swingish. Maybe we're still in that sort of vibe. I wasn't around. Because what's her face? I don't know. The girl, the cute little brunette, then goes out by herself in the middle of the night to then take off her clothes.
Samantha.
And she's, I think, that's my vibe.
She's from Weird Science.
Well, that's why I like her. Oh, yes, she is.
Yes, she is.
Yes, she is. Well, that makes sense because I've always thought that's my type of girl. So the fact that she comes and gets naked for no reason alone in the night and then swims out to a fucking raft, I'd be like, okay, why not? Why not?
I'll tell you too, absolutely gorgeous still. And I actually just saw her. She is in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Because I'm like, hey, it's Judy Aronson. Holy shit.
No shit. I didn't know. Yeah. Well, I don't know. How the hell do you know her name? Good for you.
She is friends with Barbara Crampton. And so I see her on Barbara Crampton's Instagram a lot. So that is why. Because then I'm like, oh, Weird Science, Friday the 13th 4. I had a huge crush on her from Weird Science, though. And probably this movie as well.
I mean, God, Weird Science was, I think every boy had like a slight sexual awakening watching that movie.
Oh my God. Kelly LeBrock she is something else in that movie. I will watch that film every 6 months, I feel. It is one of those movies for me.
I mean, let's give credit to fucking the great Chicagoan, Mr. John Hughes, for just having the greatest run of any sort of like non-genre director that was just like, let's just make fun teen comedies.
Yeah, his run is nuts. It's pretty much through Home Alone 2, I think is when it ends.
Yeah, because yes. Yeah,
because he falls off. I remember there's a lot of shit after. I was kind of shocked to see some of the stuff that he was involved with later on.
Part of me thinks like it's one of those things where he just took what he can get. Once you become uncool, I mean, maybe now with social media, you can kind of have a following, but back then, once you're out, Yeah, that is true. I remember because he did, Drill Bit Taylor. Yeah, that's not a good one. Well, it's just the story because he was dead by then, but Just Visiting, screenplay, Beethoven's third. Yeah. Not Flubber. Flubber is the 90s, so that must have been one of his last ones. Or because I think Beethoven came before Flubber.
Oh, yeah, it did just before. So it would have been Beethoven, then Home Alone 2 was the same year.
Oh, he did Dennis the Menace. I actually did like Dennis
the Menace.
But no, after that, it's like, I like Dennis the Menace, but it's not one of his best. That's, it's just more of a nostalgic bait. But yeah, Dennis the Menace, Beethoven's second, Baby's Day Out, 101 Dalmatians, Flubber. It's like, yeah, dude, his early 90s was the end. But who fucking cares? Who cares?
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
he gave us Weird Science and a bunch of amazing movies, so that's fine.
Vacation, Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Come on, Uncle Buck. Christmas Vacation.
I know this isn't the John Hughes podcast, but I am also very curious as to why he just like stopped directing in 91. Like, very weird. I had all of these hits, and then it's like, yep. Then he just was a screenwriter. Maybe he just didn't want to be on set.
Could be. I don't know. I also feel things were just different back then. I think things were more cutthroat because now you could reach out to your fans. You could have a little fan club and kind of survive off that. I think back then, man, is one of those. I remember there's an interview with Jeff Daniels. I forget where it's on. It's black and white, but he was basically saying that his back in like the 80s, his agent was like, hey man, you got about X amount of years and then you're done. Doesn't matter what happens. Like once you're not it, pack them and go home. And so he was saying he kind of took that to heart. Like, okay, there's going to be a day where they don't want you. And at that time you just, that was it. You might take a small role or end up on TV or some shit, but that you had a finite ending.
Yeah, I mean, one of the Friday the 13th stars that Peter Barton, the guy who looks like Donny Osmond. If you look at his IMDb, I mean, he was in a lot of stuff, like just a lot of random things on TV, and then retired in 2005. Like done.
Restless. Well, at least he was smart enough to do the soaps, 208 episodes. Yeah. So like he got some money back, and then just retired.
Yeah, I have a lot more respect for soap actors these days because I'm just like, yep, good for you. Like you're able to act and make a living. Like,
yeah, it's essentially the office job of the entertainment industry.
Yeah, very much so. And heck, they weren't affected by the strikes. They were able to keep on going. Was not something like something with SAG contract. They were still allowed to do like soap operas.
Well, I'm glad a mom that is home at 2 p.m. and has something to do. God bless.
Dude, yeah, kept my grandma entertained. She loves those. So heck, that's the only reason that she was very excited when I interviewed Barbara Crampton, because she knows Barbara Crampton from The Young and the Restless.
Yeah, because after the 80s, that's how she survived. She basically took the soap route for a long time until I think she came back with We're Still Here. Or no, it was You're Next, I believe, right? Maybe one of the two, I forget. I may be mixing both those up, but yeah, because I think I talked to her once for Jacob's wife, and she basically said, like, you know, she did soaps for a while to stay afloat, and then she like just stepped away to have her kids.
She is an absolute sweetheart, and like I cannot say enough good things about Barbara Crampton. And the fact that I know that then she opened up to you like that in an interview, I'm like, that is amazing. Because that's the same kind of vibes I got from her. I had to cut out a lot in my interview because there was stuff where I'm like, I don't know if she wants this out there.
Nah, it was a cool chick, and you know, she's like back. I love, and this is something I think we could both agree on. Like, I will agree that I think women have a harder time like getting roles in their older age. You know, just because most people want to see like young and hot. I completely get it. Like, you could have Dan DeVito, but you know, for women, I'm sorry. Chicks.
Dude, I just watched Deck the Halls with a buddy. It was Danny DeVito, and his paired wife was Kristen Chenoweth. Like, that's the kind of ageism and random shit that goes on in Hollywood.
It's just the name of the game. But Crampton is like has been kicking ass. Like I said, I think it was we are still here, and then You're Next. I believe those are the two that kind of brought her in. And I love that she's on like a second career resurgence. You know, I love it.
She is the whole reason she championed Suitable Flesh and found the director, found Joe Lynch, because they worked
together before, right?
Yeah, but they had worked together on something before, and she, because she was doing, because Stuart Gordon, the Reanimator guy, he was supposed to do Suitable Flesh, and he passed away, unfortunately. And so, like, Barbara is the one that championed that and found the people. And so it's like, she is more than just a fucking pretty face and a good actress. Because
which is funny. I was going to save this for a different conversation, but I had watched that last night for the first time, Suitable Flesh, when I get in before the year. So
we're going to have to talk about this another time. Absolutely, because I'm very excited to hear your thoughts on that. But yeah, we're going to get back into Friday the 13th part 4.
There's people watching us like, what the fuck you doing, dude? Come on.
Listening. They can't see anything.
There might be a symbol. All right, come on.
That's true. We're not used to this audio only spiel, but we'll get there. We're only 4 in at this point. But okay, so we're pretty much at the point where it's just the part I love in these films where it is just death, and then our lead comes in and finds it. It seems to be it's a trope that gets repeated many times in these movies, and I love it.
So, you know names better, but my girlfriend gets naked and swims out into the raft in the middle of the night, a foggy night.
Yes, Samantha.
For no good reason, unless I'm missing something. I always just thought that her exit was, I don't know, just to get her killed, but I like it.
She's mad. She's mad at her boyfriend, and she's like, also, like, I kind of agree with what she's doing, because it's like, she's so obviously trying to get her boyfriend to just come out with her immediately, But he's the dummy that then doesn't pick up on it immediately.
Well, guys are, I mean, as a guy, come on. Sometimes it's hard.
I mean, I would understand that, but also they're like 20 years old. Do you remember how horny you were at that age? Like, come on. He's going to give up, I don't know, a sure thing for this twin that is just going to ruin his relation. Like, you know what I mean?
Fair
like,
enough.
I don't,
okay. But I'm saying that, like,
that.
What does make sense is why she's naked in the raft. Like,
because she said she was going to go skinny dipping.
I know, but that doesn't make sense. Like, that's like, you could be like, hey, come outside. And it's not a fault of the movie because everybody does this, but I never understood skinny dipping alone in the middle of the night in a dark, scary lake. It's something that I'll always I'll laugh at it and have fun with it, but it is the first logical thing that I'm always like, why? You met your boyfriend and you're going to swim out like far out to this fucking raft. I mean, it's cool though because it gives me something awesome. It's one of those, it doesn't make sense, but what I get is better because it doesn't, because she's naked in this raft and we got that great kill. I think one of my favorite kills because I think it's very atmospheric.
Yeah, it's so well done, and just I love how it's shot. It's just framed really well, and I'm still gonna fight you on the whole it not making sense because I don't know. I kind of view it as the whole you go to the bathroom and you come out and the person you're with is naked, displayed out on the bed. It's a similar thing.
I mean, sure, like, that would make sense. This guy has to traverse like half through the jungle.
I guess in my head it's closer than it probably actually is. So I don't know. I guess I'll give it to you, but I've always been like, yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, I'm being nitpicky. I'm admitting that. I don't think I have a solid argument. I'm just making the argument that I always think of, like, you know, that these movies, that's the only thing that always sticks out at me. Like, you want to go look for somebody with a flashlight? Fine. Fucking people get lost.
Well, and I'm sure fucking Judy Aronson would have liked it to not be happening because I know the filming, this was an absolutely miserable experience.
Was it cold? It's always cold, isn't it?
Cold as fuck, and Joseph Zito was an asshole to the point that Ted White had to be like, no, we're not filming anymore. Get this girl under some fucking blankets and heat it up. Like and Ted White is the guy who played Jason. So he had to step in because Joseph Zito was so fucking in his own head about the shot, which, by the way, as much as I would blame that on Joseph Zito as well, because he needs to be more aware, producers on set that's one of the things that they're there for is actor safety and getting things done, like
time, right?
Yeah, and like not giving like essentially keeping the director in line of like, hey, no, those you can't do that. It's the same thing of like lunch breaks. Producer calls lunch, and a lot of the time the director fucking hates it because they're like, God damn it, we're halfway through a scene. Because if the director could have their way, they would fucking skip lunch and then take the penalty.
Yeah, nobody gets fucking lunch, yeah.
Yeah, so like that kind of thing, like you need people to step in. So this, thankfully, Friday Part 2 had Ted White, and he is such a badass. Or I think he may have passed at this point, but regardless, absolute badass for what he did.
No, yeah, of course. Was he in, I feel like I should know this. This was his only credit as Jason, actually, right?
Yes, we do not have many repeat customers outside of Kane Hodder.
Yeah.
And technically Ken Kersinger because...
But he was a cook once in Jason. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, he was... I don't think they've ever clarified what he doubled for Jason in Part 8. Because I know that, they've said like he was a double, but it's like they haven't said specifically. Because I assume because of the weirdness between him and between Kersinger and Hodder.
I mean, he's the cook though that gets thrown against the mirror.
Yes, so yes, he's in the movie, but yeah. I'm just saying of like I don't know what else he is because he was Jason at one point in that film, so it's like I don't know what scene.
Probably something where he had to fall. You know, I can't see them using a stunt double for a walking scene, so I had to be like Yeah, something. I don't know. I never heard. Are they still? I thought they made up. I thought like they're cool now.
Oh, no. I think they're fine. I'm just saying in terms, there is still like a lot of that in the fan base of people being like putting them up against each other. And I think he is absolutely still offended at the fact that he wasn't chosen, but I don't think he puts that on Ken Kersinger.
No, I've only seen like 2, what are they called? What's it called? When people, when you want to like change something,
amend? I don't know.
No. When people get like a thing and you sign it to try to get something changed. Can't think of it. But basically when Kane was announced he wouldn't be taking over, like there's this document going around, you would sign it and they were sending it to New Line Cinema to try to get it changed. Like basically not a survey, but what's it called? Where like everybody signs something, it's like, hey,
a petition.
I signed a petition to get Kane Hodder to get the Jason role for Freddy vs. Jason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that was a big deal.
Yeah, I was pissed.
I still to this day, I'm like, yeah, it's not as good because it's not the correct Jason.
No, so. and I blame this on the director, but the movements of Jason and that is not Jason at all. I always say, when people bitch about the Rob Zombie Halloweens because Michael Myers is too aggressive, I'm like, no, absolutely, you're right. Rob Zombie put Jason Voorhees in a Michael Myers mask, but Freddy vs. Jason, we put fucking Michael Myers in a Jason mask because he walked slow and steady and he didn't make any sort of crazy movements. It was very like methodical.
Yeah.
And outside of Kane Hodder, this is a good example of this one. Ted White, Jason's aggressive. Like it's not Kane Hodder level, but he's definitely showing more emotion than we've been used to, and I think that's why I gravitate towards this one a lot.
Yeah, I mean he's one of my favorite Jasons, and he's only in this one. I think that shows of how much his performance works, and there's a meanness in almost everything that he does. Every little motion. I mean, all of these kills, because he goes from killing Samantha to then essentially all the couples. Yeah, all the couples pair off. So then people separate, and the boyfriend comes out to investigate, which
the spear gun in his gut or dick.
Yeah, which I've always liked. And also, I want to bring up that this is like the only time that Jason's in the water. He always, other than when he obviously in part 6, like when he's like trapped in the water and like he goes out there, but otherwise he doesn't really go in the water.
It's just funny because Jason's kind of known for like being the first one in that fucker, which
in the game, it's like a whole mechanic where you can like essentially just go super fast.
Yeah, exactly. Because like water's your friend. Yeah. It's a good point. But like you said earlier, Jason's essentially waiting in that water for what's his face to swim on out, check it out. It's not a thing a dude's doing.
That's a zombie.
At least he's not alive in this realm. He's not fully in the realm of existence we know it. This motherfucker is not just a living, breathing hick from upstate New York.
I mean,
or Jersey. I'm sorry.
His fingernails are black. Like he's pretty much rotting. I mean, and we'll see his face later, but like that man is a zombie. I will not hear anything otherwise. If you think he's a zombie, you can feel free to comment or send in viewer mail, whatever, and I will disagree with you wholeheartedly. So will Lance.
If he's not a zombie, if he's not, I'm going to say I'm dead because I'm going to save zombie for 6, but yes. And what I will say is we're continuing on. I do like the character we mentioned earlier. I'm not good at names, especially these movies because I'm a Jason guy anyway. But what's his face? Whose sister was killed by Jason?
Rob.
And he has the machete and he has the tent and shit. There's a scene I liked it. Like he thinks he hears Jason or what he believes to be some sort of distress. And he grabs machete, leaving a great old-fashioned rifle, a long-range deadly weapon in the tent. He looked at the rifle, he looked at the machete, looked back at the rifle. He's like, okay, I got to be safe. Let's grab the machete.
It's like, what is the point of even bringing that gun if the moment that something seems off, you immediately just abandon the gun?
It's really what the gun is for, is that if something's popping off, you need that motherfucker next to you, and he leaves it. I love that he grabs machete. It's my favorite thing. It's like, okay, so best you can do is 3 feet. Like, you need to get real. You got to get in the pocket, buddy. Come on.
When I think he mentions too something about bears. So if it's not Jason, then it might be a bear. And I'm going to tell you, a machete ain't doing shit against a bear. You need that gun.
The rifle is probably not doing much, but at least you have a chance. Yeah, it's just funny that he leaves.
Scare it off.
Yeah, the rifle and the scope, he leaves it in the tent. I don't know. It's a part that I love because clearly this machete is going to be used later on. It's setting up the machete. I love it. Chekhov's gun once again,
Yeah. Well, and you know who the sister is supposed to be, right? Who Rob's sister is?
Who?
It is the cute girl, Sandra, from part 2 that gets speared through while her boyfriend is porking her.
Oh, the little, that kind of reverse bacon.
Yeah, that one. That's her.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm bad at names, but that's awesome. But I like that idea. And I think they've done it a couple times, or at least
even though when you pick it apart, because part 3 takes place just after part 2, and part 4 picks up just after part 3. Yet Rob treats it like it's been years. It's been days since his sister's dead.
Fair enough, but I like the idea. I'm willing to forgive it because the idea to me is cooler, which is a man out for revenge. I like, it's like, what is it, The Duke? And I don't like the movie, but in Goes to Hell, I like the idea of somebody that's like, okay, I'm going to get this motherfucker. And Rob could have been it. He could have been.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. I almost texted you this. I'm actually really looking forward to Jason Goes to Hell because I usually don't rewatch it. So it's something where I'm like, oh, yeah, when I'm thinking of these movies, it's like, yeah, that's one where I'm like, oh yeah, I never rewatch it ever. So this will actually be entertaining, especially when I know I can pick it apart with you.
And the one that we have on our box set, I believe to be the first time it's been unrated, or at least the scenes have been added back in.
Yes. And the unrated is the only way to watch that film. That sleeping the tent death is a abomination in the R-rated version.
So it's funny.
They cut it entirely.
I feel like when I got the set, I skipped those scenes and I didn't rewatch the movie because I'm an ass. But now I am definitely willing to go back. Well, I don't have to, but I'm excited to go back and actually figure this out.
Yeah, it's so much better. And so the boyfriend dies, and then we get, it's essentially the twin I guess Crispin goes and gets laid, which is a nice little twist that we're not expecting because it seems like that. Why would this guy ever get laid?
Yeah, but one of the twins is all about him, and good for him.
Yeah, that's a fun change, and I like how the twin just is very upset and leaves, and the silhouetted kill works really well. It's really well shot. The tension of it, the mystery of it. It's like, oh, is she gonna get away? And with how little it shows, it does feel more violent than it actually is, just because of her body being pushed up against the house.
Again, Zito, man. Like, this is more cinematic. It is. And that's a good example. Yeah. Because you don't, it's more hinted at, but in a way, at least it doesn't feel as cheap as, some of the cut to kills that we see in part 2 and 3.
One thing though, that this is reminding me is that one of the issues in the Prowler was I'll call it the Sean Cunningham effect, where the camera just is rolling and just following people for way too long, where it's like, there should be more inserts in here. Like, it shouldn't just be this wide shot this whole time. But where Cunningham, it's like all very flat shots. in the Prowler, these people are coming in and out of shadow, and it's like much more dynamic and more interesting. So like having that in mind, and then with here, it's like it's no wonder that this is the best directed film that we've gotten so far. And I loved how part 2 was directed, but this actually feels like someone who really knows what they're doing.
It's the first time where Jason feels authentically Jason. I think 1 through 3 they all work in some way. You know, they all have their issues, but I think for the most part, we like them because there's really not too much of a bad movie in this series.
No.
But I feel, because let's talk in present tense, that this is the first time where it all kind of comes together. Like all the elements were there in 1 through 3. And Zito and the writer, and I'm sure have its luck, in all honesty, in this kind of fucking series. But but I feel like going forward, the elements that are in part 4, the final chapter, are what's sort of repeated and tweaked and changed and embellished. I feel this is the sort of template that the series will kind of use going forward.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that has to do with reaction. I know that when this came out, it was pretty immediate of, oh yeah, this is the best. This is the best Jason. And same with when part 6 came out, it's pretty widely. It's like, this is the best Jason. It's like, I think then there's always like well, this is what worked. So then when, part 8 didn't appeal to people, they're like, what worked about things? And they were like, we're going to do, because they originally were actually going to do something back at Crystal Lake. And then Sean Cunningham got them rights back. And, well, I should say, because of Jason Takes Manhattan, Paramount was just like, we're finally done with this.
Well, they didn't even like to begin with. They just made the money. They were embarrassed by it. So yeah, they gave it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So then Cunningham was like, oh, hey, we can do something completely insane at this point and not follow anything that has come before. And that didn't work at all. But then Jason X they go crazy, but I still think that like that Jason is still the same Jason from the final chapter.
Absolutely.
So there is still that through line.
And I should say this, I should get out on the World Wide Web. Well, I think I've done it before, but I'm going to do it here. I am not a purist, and I'm one of the few people that hates the argument that Jason's always been Crystal Lake. He doesn't. Only because there's enough of that. I actually want Jason to traverse more landscapes. I really do. I think, especially this late in the series, and when people are essentially rooting for the killer, I think switching up the location is a very great idea. Still make it witty, smart, violent, make sure it's meat, potatoes, nudity, kills, yada, yada. But I am not the person who's like, it needs to be in the woods. Like, no, I don't give a shit. Put it in the south side of Chicago. I got my own problems. I have fun. How about we go back to New York and do it right?
Yeah.
Fucking put them in the snow. Put them in Michigan. You had some snow hills up there. I've skied it myself. Put them up there.
But even then, I view it as I would want it to still fit that Friday the 13th formula. I wouldn't want it to be like Jason stalks a wintry neighborhood. I would want it to be Jason stalks a ski resort, because then you're getting similar vibes to the camp. Then it gives a different environment.
I see. I would like both. I would like him in his suburb. I like him anywhere, honestly.
But then you get that issue of the Freddy versus Jason where it's like, get your Michael Myers out of my Jason.
Well, I think that's betrayal. I think if you put Kane Hodder in that exact situation and made him a Kane Hodder Jason, I think it'd be great. I mean, the cornfield's a really cool scene, and Ken Kinzinger, I don't fucking know his last name.
Ken
Kirzinger, he did fine. It's a cool scene, but imagine an exact scene in the cornfield with Kane Hodder. But again,
yeah,
I'm not a purist. I've never been a purist. I never will be a purist. It's not my personality. I'm not saying don't have a part of the movie in the woods, but I actually think Jason being in different environments would keep it interesting at this point. But we've also had how many years since we had a Jason movie? 2009? So really, just give me anything. Christ, put him back in the fucking woods. Just give me a Jason movie, man.
Yeah, and the only thing that's in development is that stupid Crystal Lake show that isn't even going to have proper Jason. So
yeah, the fact that people are excited about that is depressing, but
if it even happens,
hope it does. Just be a fucking movie, dude. Jason's not supposed. I don't need. It's the one thing where like delving more into the character is a bad idea. Jason actually needs to be kind of generic. It's sort of the love of him. I don't need to feel bad for his childhood is more than I do. Like, okay, poor guy drowned, and now he's killing people. He's killing a lot of people that don't deserve it, and I'm on his side. Let's keep it that way. Don't tell me about his mom or his dad or. It's like, I don't give a shit. I give a shit. Let's just stick to the formula. Like, Jason works because it actually tries to do very little.
Yeah, I would concur with that. Let's keep going through these kills. So next we had essentially it's Crispin Glover getting the corkscrew.
The reverse.
Where the hell's the corkscrew?
Great Sam Raimi shot. I love how it looks. It's all reversed. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and it took me a long time. I never understood. I always thought that like his hand was getting like clamped down. They're attached to the side, like the edges of tables, and you can put like cans in them and I've worked in down.
The food industry. I know exactly the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so that thing, for the longest time, I thought it was that which like slammed on his hand, and then there was one point watching it as a kid where I'm like, I think it was finally, it might have been teen years where I had dealt with a corkscrew more often, where I kind of connected the dots, where I'm like, wait a minute, it's this that's going through? Dear God, wee. And then I assume it's like more of a small knife, not the actual machete that goes in his.
Looks like I think it's a meat cleaver, right?
Yes. So everything about it is brutal, and then the fact that he gets crucified against the door frame, just poor Jimmy.
Let's go back to our conversation last episode. So Jason kills him and takes his body, has to hold against the door, shoulder him probably, and brace him with his non-dominant hand. Then nail him the fucking one hand. Okay, then he's going to drop a little. He's going to then switch and has to shoulder him with his dominant side, hold him with his left hand. I'm assuming Jason's right hand. And then, and then nail him in and then shut the door, look around. Obviously make sure the work is done right. That'll do, pig, and leave. I love the idea that Jason has to have these moments of like actual artistic expression that are so stupid, but because we never see them, they're awesome.
And this is the same man that has just, he doesn't think things through to the point of like, he's literally, his idea of stopping someone is putting a body in the way. I want to remind you, he nailed this body in the way. So he had access to nails, where it's like, just nail the door. So this guy is so fucked in the head that he's like, or just so dumb that he's like, let's see, wood planks? No. I'll use Jimmy's body.
And then remember later he grabs and pulls him down and the nails rip out of the hands.
Yes.
I love it.
And I talk shit, but clearly it worked because Trish didn't go out that way. She opened the door and was like, and then turned around.
Well, it's convoluted, but we enjoy the fact that essentially, again, it's a little more artistic. He could be dumb, but still, it's probably harder to hold up a giant dead human man's body to nail on than it would a plank of wood. So I kind of appreciate the fact that he's not taking the easy way out. He's thinking ahead. He's like, hey, I got to stop her, but like, what's also scary, It's like a haunted house.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of, that aspect kind of reminds me of Michael, because Michael really likes to set up displays.
Motherfucker, you said that, and I was thinking like, I don't remember any part of the movie with Bob Hoskins and John Travolta with any of this, and I was like, oh, you're talking about Michael Myers. I immediately was like, the angel from the mid-90s?
You're the only person saying... Okay, from now on, I will make sure that I say Michael Myers and not Austin Powers.
Motherfucker, I'm just saying, I immediately, because I guess I watched Michael not too long ago. It's a fantastic movie. And you're
Is
like,
it?
have you not seen Michael? Are you not a fan of like 90s dramas? I don't tell you, buddy.
Dude, the one where he's an angel?
Yeah, and he's like has a gut, smokes cigarettes, and he's all just kind of grumpy and has to fix Andy McDowell and
Are you a Meet Joe Black guy too?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, come on.
I don't know.
There's a little more heart. You're gonna put fucking Michael against Meet Joe Black? We're putting that level?
I would say it's better. I would say Michael or Meet Joe Black is better for the car accident alone.
Well, yes, because it's stupid. But have you seen Michael? I feel like this is some Michael hype from a non-Michael watcher here.
I have seen Michael. I watched it as a kid, and I was like, "A fucking hell!"
I find it charming. I'm sorry, find it charming. All right, let's move on.
Move on from Michael because you're a crazy person. So then Doug gets murdered. He's in the shower, and I like too. He's like, oh, is that you, Ted? Oh, drop the soap, old Teddy boy. Get in here. Har har har. Like they go so hard in the jokey side of it of like, we don't want anyone thinking that he is trying to hit on him. We want to really lean into the fact that no, this is 100% jokey. Cracked me up.
Oh, the 80s. Now, hold on.
Yeah.
What about, I was going to say, did we skip over? I think one of my favorite deaths is one of the Double twins when she looks out the window. And Jason.
Oh, yeah. I guess that is after.
It's before he throws her out. And and she does like a nice little flip onto the car. And clearly they have like explosives set in the windows because it's just this aggressive, like.
Yeah. And they don't time it right.
No. But it's charming because of it.
Yeah, I agree. I like that. It is very fun. And they have a habit in this movie of Jason likes to attack from windows, which I guess that's the thing from the past. He likes going through windows, so I'll take it.
Yeah, he's a man that doesn't let things stand in his way. Like I always say what I love about Jason Voorhees is he has an aversion to doors. And in this movie at the end, I mean, he busts through it, fucking going like 110 because the thing just explodes. I'm like, I love it.
Yeah. And then the one lady, the girl that gets the axe through the chest, which I don't know, it's fine. I think it's over too fast.
Yeah, it's a cheap kill.
Yeah, she like comes back and finds I feel like her boyfriend and these different people, and then freaks out. And when she goes through the front door, that's when the axe comes through, and it's like, I could have used a little more, especially with how much she was set up as like this innocent girl. So then I wanted more of a payoff of like, oh, this is why you don't have sex. The fact that you had sex is why this happened. So yeah. I wanted to see her like regretting her decisions.
I forget how like conservative the idea of this fucking franchise is. Yeah, like sex is bad. But I was gonna say that I think is this the first one where Jason crushes a head, because the dude in the shower is where he like his death is crushing head now. Which was the first?
Third one, the eyeball pop out.
Oh, amateur mistake. That's a good point. Okay, then at this point, then they're establishing that the crushing the head is a Jason Voorhees pocket move, like he always has in his pocket. Because obviously the second time, because I like the crushing the head. I find it
it's brutal,
uniquely Jason.
Yeah, it's absolutely brutal. It's a really well done effect too. The mold that they did to properly
for the eye in 3,
replicate that guy. No, I mean for 4.
Oh, well, he's just pressing his head against the shower tile. Yeah.
Yeah, is it just like it? Because it comes in like awkwardly. There's times where it's almost like you can see the bone and cartilage give way. It's not just an immediate crushing like a empty water bottle. It's more of like almost there's levels to it.
Yeah, because it's like through his upper lip to his forehead. Yeah.
Yeah, it's brutal. Looks so good. And the fact that, I mean, Jason is literally presses, like he breaks through the glass to be able to do it. Yeah, he doesn't open things. He just breaks through them.
Which is good. Because like to me, that's a matter of efficiency. Like if it wasn't going to cut you, why would you open anything? If it doesn't hurt you, then opening doors and windows is wasting your time and mine.
Yeah.
Like, and I also like that for some reason doors explode. Like I would be happy if like him kind of pushed his hand through a window, made everything explode. Like it was just everything was to the 11th, like for no reason. He like puts his head in a window, just fucking blows up. Like, more of that, please.
It works well too. I feel like there's a lot of times when these movies where the bang 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 kills kind of almost don't fit the tone of some of the rest of the film. But in this one, I think that it's so well paced, and by the time that these do hit, it doesn't feel excessive. It doesn't feel like, oh, they're just trying to kill off people to then get the body count down.
I mean,
body count up.
I would say I'm 100% okay with in this series, but I think you're right. I also think most of that has to do with just how the pacing is. So nothing ramps up. It just feels like a progressive intensity building, and I think that's fine. I mean, I'll take cheaper shit, but you're right, and I think that has a lot to do with the director probably and knowing his stuff, because it doesn't feel, because once it, in other movies, like we'll have like a nice kill montage and then we'll have like a long chase scene. This is just kill, situation increases, what's his face comes back.
And I think too, it's the fantastic story, because it's all of the kills and all of the characters being by themselves. It's all been set up in the prior 60 minutes.
Yes. No,
everything.
It's a culmination of essentially the first half of the movie. I mean, good writing. This is the effect from the cause.
Because I mean, think of that was one of the complaints with part 3 that we had that I had specifically was the bikers. The bikers don't have, I mean, the only positive would be that then when Axel comes back, he helps out Chris, but then he immediately dies. So it's like, well, you could have done something else to then distract Jason in that moment. But here, they handle the parallel stories between the partying teens and the Jarvis family just extremely well. It never feels like, we're spending too much time with these people, or I would rather spend time with the other people. Like, why these people feel pointless? They feel equally as important.
No, 100% agree. The teen characters are charming, but it makes their side story makes sense, because essentially their side story is every other movie. We're lucky enough to have I want to say Feldmans, because I get the Jarvises, but like their struggle makes a lot of sense as their own story. So they just wrote essentially a really decent family dynamic and then put it next to our nice, tried and true Friday the 13th story. And I think that's what works so well, is that what we have on the side is our teens, and we like that anyway. If that was the whole movie, it'd be good. But you're wise enough to put a cool side story with, and I think Feldman is the one that sells it a lot. The main girl, I think, does well. What's his face? Rob. Is it Rob?
Yeah, Rob.
It's the hunky woodsman. I mean, that's a good, second plot or first plot. I'm not sure what you would consider plot 1 and part 2. But
I mean, I would mostly just because of Tommy being in the other movies, I would say that automatically makes his line part like plot 1.
Yeah, well, maybe retroactively.
A plot.
But
and the fact that he makes it through the end, that as well.
But it's interesting because if you think about it, because he is in it less than the teens.
So much less. He's hard. I mean, in a lot of ways, he's hardly in it.
He disappears
for middle portion.
Yeah, he disappears for half the movie. But I also like that, because that at this point in the series is different, and let's do something different. I'm down.
The only thing that I wish is, which maybe you can't do just because Tommy's a little too proactive. So if he saw stuff, then he would be doing things quicker. But I do think that they miss out on opportunities of potentially showing, like, essentially doing the Tommy Doyle in the first Halloween, where he sees Michael doing stuff. It's like, I feel like they could have done that, of him seeing Jason, even if he doesn't see him murder, just sees hints of him that then ramps up the tension. But
sure,
that doesn't happen.
But that's one of those that I agree would be better, but I don't feel it takes anything away because it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, it's more of a notice it after the fact kind of thing of like, oh, how could this have been improved? But no, everyone dies in pretty quick succession here. And then Trish and Rob essentially come onto the scene, and Rob is dispatched very quickly too.
Which that'd probably be my one complaint about the movie. It's like you set up this guy and maybe you're trying to pull a nobody's safe card like you've done before, which I'm not against. But being that he has history, that's kind of guy that really give him a history and bring him back seems like a waste if you're just going to kill him.
And he's killing me. He's killing me. What?
Well, I mean, come on. Poor Rob. Give Rob some shit. We didn't mention the dog jumping out the...
get killed. That ain't going to happen. I'm not going to say he's killing me. He's killing me.
You know what, motherfucker? I'm going to exclusively just say that. I'm going to do that. If I get shot or stabbed in a fight, I'm like, he's killing me.
He's killing me.
Just to make sure that it's something that happens in real life. But we didn't talk. We had to talk about the dog jumping out the window. Oh my god!
Do you think that it's him jumping out or Jason throwing him?
I mean, they don't establish anything of Jason up there. It seems like he's jumping out the window to me.
Yeah, I would agree. That's why. I mean, I've always thought that. So then when I saw people theorizing that it's Jason throwing him out, I was like, oh, I didn't.
Doesn't make sense. That. I need a quick side story, but I promise it'll be good for this whole thing. Many years ago, I think it was like 2006 or 7. I was in my second apartment. It's a three flat in the suburbs of Chicago. My friends and I lived on the second floor, and my other friends lived on the third. And I worked like a lot of weekends and shit, so like I'd have a random weekday off, and so I was home, and I'll never forget this. I had my big tube TV, and I had this like old sort of Fraser rocking chair, and I pulled it up close to my TV, and I was watching Rome for the first time. And upstairs, my friend, him and his girlfriend were at work, but they had a Rottweiler named Stanley, this big fucking dog, small apartment, hilarious situation. I'm watching Rome, living my life, and I hear what essentially sounds like a glass table explode above my head. Now I'm home alone. And I've probably been smoking a little marijuana. I don't remember. But I remember thinking like, well, that's scary. What's going on, you know? And so I look outside in my window thinking like, is it a car crash? Is this somebody throwing bottles? And I see for some reason Stanley, my Rottweiler, or not my Rottweiler, but the Rottweiler of, let's say the apartment building, sitting on the sidewalk. And I'm like, well, that's fucking crazy. So I immediately run down, thinking, because I know there's other Rottweilers. I grab him. I'm like, Stanley, okay? What's going on? Where you been? I grab him, and I look up, and I see a window completely open. Bring him upstairs, check him. I touch all his paws. Call my buddy Josh. Like, hey, dude, your fucking dog is outside. I brought him in, and he's like, keep in your apartment. I'm going to talk to my girlfriend. She'll be home soon. Moral of the story is, I guess he saw a squirrel and jumped at the window and exploded the window and jumped out of the third story of a 3-flat all the way to the ground. Not a scratch or bump on the fucking dog. Lived a long life.
That's insane.
I did. And if it wasn't for me getting high watching Rome, the dog would have wandered off into another existence. But I caught it, brought him back up, and he was fine. So when I see the dog jump out the window, part of me is like, it is very realistic, and it's not goofy or out of the realm of possibility. I saw it with my own eyes.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me in terms of being something that is logical to have happened, because that seems like something that would I mean, I've seen it bugs the shit out of me when I see someone that has their dog in the back of their car and the dog is like hanging out the back. They're so far out.
Freaks me out.
And it's like, dude, just because you were like, oh, he'll never go out. Wait till some squirrel comes up when you're at a stop sign. If like that dog is going.
Yeah. The dog doesn't really understand human conceptions. It's just squirrel's over there. I got to get the squirrel. It's what I do.
Yeah. So did they establish is Gordon dead? Does he comes back at the end, doesn't he?
No, they don't get the dog. It's just, I think I always thought if the dog was smarter than any other human, it was like, oh, no, I'm out.
Yeah. As soon as he saw shit was happening, he's like, nope, no thank you. Because we also don't see the mom die.
Oh, yeah. Off-screen kill.
Yeah, which I don't know why they did that, because I know they have footage of
probably MPAA, right? I mean, that has to be. I assume
maybe
money and MPAA is every answer to every issue of this entire series.
Yeah, I mean, it usually is the culprit, and so I really like this whole back and forth between Trish and Tommy and Jason. There's a lot of fun in this whole end chase, because I can't think of any other that has moments like this that, I don't know, work well with the tension, because at one point you have Trish and Tommy are trapped in Tommy's room with Jason busting in, and then they're able to stop Jason. But to be able to get out, they have to like pass over him, which I don't think they fully milk as much as they should, but it's still a good moment.
You're right.
Yeah.
I always think of Halloween 6. Remember that part where they're going down the stairs and she has to step over Michael Myers? I think that's a better example. But I still, you're right though. This switches enough locations, even if it's in the same house and general area. Like there's enough location switches that this is a very intense but very enjoyable chase, because it keeps moving. It progresses like a video game.
Yes, very much so. And by the time, because the part of it, like how Rob gets killed, you almost kind of aren't convinced that he's gone. So I know that even when I watched this as a kid, I'm like, oh, is he coming back? Is this something that they're gonna bring back to? But then obviously they absolutely do not, and he's just super dead.
And let's not forget, this is something I always want to bring up, because I'm not the biggest purist, but I know a lot of people are like, oh, Jason doesn't run. Jason never runs. A minute 20 and 58, motherfucker's running for his life. He's absolutely trying to catch up to what's-her-face as fast as he can. So I always want to say, I don't love the idea of Jason running, just because I think Jason doesn't need to run, but that is established very clearly in Zombie Jason, like brought back rotting face maggot Jason. Jason clearly does run when he needs to.
Yeah,
So-
I think, like I said before, I think they always end up basing so much of what they want the skeletal structure to be of their film, and Jason in particular. They always try and they focus on the biggest movie, and Jason Lives, once it got to that, it definitely just aped a lot of stuff from part 4. But then one of the things that they definitely don't do is run.
Well, that's a Kane Hodder thing. He's come across and said that was his big thing, is he doesn't like the idea of Jason Ryan, which is fine. I think it works.
CJ Graham in part 6, and he establishes the slow walk.
I mean, a little. I feel though he still hustles a little more in that movie. But you're right though. I guess it's
not quite as.
It's the start of because in number 7, I feel like that's almost the Michael Myers walking away. Like he's just cucking. He's just handling himself.
Yeah, very slow.
But I just want to. The only reason I'm bringing it up is because I think I don't like limitations, and you know what? I don't love him running because it's hard to look cool running. I'll be real honest.
Yeah.
A lot of people look goofy. In this scene though, it works. It works, and it's not a long scene. It's just establishes that he is really not in the patient mood, and I think that's fine.
No.
I want to bring up that people need to, I think, take the metaphorical stick out of their ass as well, or the proverbial stick out of their ass. I don't know what's more correct.
Yeah, I would agree. It doesn't need to be. I mean, I love I love the remake, and the remake he's running all over the place.
Nice,
and
running.
I love part 2, and he's running all over the place. So you're talking to the right man here.
Fair enough.
I'm all about it. Let's get into the big finale, because this is essentially the showdown where Tommy cuts off all of his hair, which it's pretty metal. I like that. That's immediately where his mind goes to is, I can make myself look like this M word.
Yeah, I mean the number 2.
I said M, by the way. M is in Margaret, not the other one. You're not allowed to say that anymore. I've discovered.
Oh wait,
Mongoloid.
Oh yeah, no, you can't. It's an offensive word. But yeah. I appreciate that instead of putting on like a sweater, that motherfucker went up and did some barber work. It looks like he put some fucking eye makeup on too. Like he went full Halloween costume just to trick Jason, and I think that's an effort worth applauding. But
also, that kid, someone needs to tell that kid like don't use a straight razor on your head, a safety razor, I should say. Like when you haven't cut like the hair, you gotta. I know you don't have like a buzz, but like you gotta cut that more like closer down before you then do the safe. Do you see he's like fucking going hard with the razor while there's still so much hair there?
I mean, yes, logically it doesn't make sense, but the end result is clearly
great.
Yeah. It's also, it wasn't from that straight razor. It was clearly done by a normal razor and cutting his hair, it's a bald cap. But the idea is like it's a flawless shave, and I want to give credit to that.
Yeah, it is not flawless. There's hair all over.
Well, when there's not hair,
one of the great things about it. When there's not.
Yeah, I'm saying that like yes, I thought
follicles do not exist when there's not hair.
Yeah, he's still good. It's a close shave. And then Jason looks like a monster. It's fantastic.
Looks like a zombie.
Yeah, an actual monster. That's not a human being.
Yeah, not a human being in any way. Yeah, and I like all of that. The mask being knocked off, because Trish, again, going back to Trish being a badass. Trish is very proactive in this.
Yeah, so she's not waiting to be rescued. She's kicking ass. I love it.
Yeah, which is great, and it's too bad it's both too bad that they didn't bring her back, but I'm kind of glad that they didn't like destroy her off camera, like be like, oh yeah, this happened or that happened or she's in a nutso asylum.
Or what they would normally do is bring her back for the first 8 minutes and kill her off like while she's blow drying her hair or something stupid,
Yeah, which I think she just said she wouldn't come back. So I can't remember if it's these or for the next one where it was just like, yeah, we were told we weren't coming back and we were happy about it.
Yeah, probably 5, because 5 was the first soft reboot. Would that be the proper?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a reboot. So then we get a little bit of Tom Savini. Well, I mean, this is all Tom Savini, but the Tom Savini Jason like machete, the famous machete through the face, and then
he slides
sliding down. Oh, it's so good. It's a great effect. Great. I mean, it's one of my favorites in the entire franchise, even though can't really call it a kill because technically he doesn't get killed, but still.
It's a kill in sort of like the sense that as of this movie's world building, he dies.
Yeah.
And he dies. Jason dies in every movie theoretically, so I'd say this is one of the best Jason deaths.
Yeah, I don't think I'd put any above it. I like it that much. It's very good, and I love the Tommy with the die.
And they try to make him out as a sort of psychopath at the end. He like gives the camera that look. So did this come before? This is what year is this? This is 1984.
This is before
Halloween. So Halloween 4 theoretically was taking their exact ending off of Friday the 13th Part 4. Look at that.
And then they still got cold feet, just like the series, and didn't go through with it. Like, come on.
I mean, I'm the one person that thinks both of these ideas are dumb. Like, you can't switch killers. I don't like it, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I've done the background on the Halloween Killer Inside Me is what it's called, with the Jamie Lloyd, like what they were going to do with that, and it's not very interesting, so I'm kind of very okay with them not having continued on with that, and I can't imagine this would be super interesting, but
Well, what's the closest we've ever got to them really passing the torch? And that's going to be Halloween Ends. And that proves, I think, without a shadow of a doubt, that it can't work.
Yeah, that ain't that the truth. Holy shit, does that not work?
No.
Isn't part 4, isn't this the one that essentially gets, I don't know, the most references in those Never Hike Alone fan films?
I'm going to be honest. I support people making things, and I think that's awesome. I'm actually one of the few people that I don't like fan films. I get really annoyed. It's just like, let's do a real one. I feel like fan films are a great example of like, all that I could see is the lack of resources as good as they get. And the fan films have brought back my 2 favorite characters, which is going to be Tina and Mr. Bernie Lomax himself, Terry Kaiser. Mm-hmm. And it's just shot in this awkward fucking shitty looking room with this bad camera. I'm like, nah, man. I mean, you tell me. I'm glad those exist because people are happy, but I've tried to watch a couple of them and turn them off. I'm like, I'm done. Give me a
I know that like this is I don't know. There's just like connections in terms of what they've done in those movies. I say this more of like a tangential. I've only seen the first one, and yeah, I don't really want to.
Well, they brought back what's his face, Tommy Jarvis from Part 6, who's also in
Return of the Living Dead 1 and
2. But I'm saying they brought back I can't think of his name right now, the actor who played Jarvis in 6. That there's also Return of the Living
Tom
Dead.
Matthews.
Yeah, Matthews. Yeah.
Part of me thinks that the lady who played Trish was also involved. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
I mean, I do appreciate that it clearly is a fandom making these things. That's awesome. But it's like I'm a stickler for canon, and I'd like these to be official and made with a budget and not whatever. You get what I'm saying.
Yep, I'm right there with you. So, what would you rate this film for?
I would probably give this. This is tough. In the Jason series, I'd probably put this at a 4.
Yes, 4 stars easily. I was surprised that even you had to think about it. This is an easy one for me. 4.
I know, but I gotta kind of think ahead and like what I think about the others, and yeah, it's hard. I don't usually rate things in my normal life. I just consider it one of my favorites. I could rank it easily. I could rate it, but yeah, I'd say out of 4 stars, it's a 4-star movie because it's one of the best. It's definitely my top 3, and we'll get into where it is my top 3 at the end of this whole series.
Yeah, I think this is. I mean, we'll see, but I think this might be my last 4-star that we have. So I'm thinking ahead as well. That's why I'm making sure to give this one the praise as when we're at it. Because I say that, it makes it sound like I don't like movies later on. No, there's going to be a lot of like 3 and 3.5 stars coming up, but
we're getting to the era that was my bread and butter when I was a kid. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it, but well, I think we've pretty much done it. This is a supersized episode because we love some final chapter, and I think we've pretty much done. I mean, I can't imagine any other episodes are longer, but I guess we'll have to see because part 7, part 8, we might get real into the weeds.
Well, I'm excited because, like I said, we're getting more into. This was the start of the Jason that I love, so we are getting into my era of Jason. So let's rock it out, man. It's good always talking to you, Tyler.
You as well, Lance. And for those listening, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, rate us, anything you can do on any of the podcasting platforms that you're listening to us on. Make sure that you do all of that. Really helps us out, and make sure you spread the word. Anyone else that likes the Friday the 13th series, maybe let them know that we're doing this. We would really appreciate it. And just thank you very much for listening to us dummies talk for a little bit, because we really enjoy doing this, and we hope you enjoy listening. So we will see you guys in the next Needlessly Nostalgic. Take it easy.